Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fire Force Chapter 295. When we last left our heroes, we finally started to, move forward with Mari's return after a flashback in 293. Specifically, Shinra apologizes for not saving her when he was, 2, which, give yourself some credit, but okay. And they sort of just had this heartwarming little reunion. At long last, the Kusakabe family is back together, and it's nice. And so Shinra, with that newfound hope in his heart, goes back to fighting Haumea, and is largely powerless. Just the sheer number of abilities that Haumea has from all the other pillars, Inka's prediction, Iris's divine blessing, and so on and so forth, render her kind of immune to whatever Shinra can do, and so he has one final idea, which is to combine the light of hope of the entire Kusakabe family together against Haumea. And that's where we leave off with. Maybe this plan will work, maybe it won't, I don't know. So let's dive right on into Chapter 295, Meeting. And our picture here is of this little, soul eater soul. Hope pulses and the soul shines. Shinraban-shoman is sort of listed written underneath the soul. I'm going to see if I can do the quickest little Google search. It's giving me a character from another. Oh, it translates to all things in nature. Okay. Don't know if that has to do with anything here, but keep an eye on that, I suppose. Anyway, scan later page, by the manga page. We open with a narrator monologue. And again, how are we treating the narrator? Is it sort of a genuine objectivity, or is there some viewpoint the narrator has? Situated third closest to the sun, there existed a watery planet. Now in its stead exists a second sun. There is nothing left of what used to thrive on that planet. Now remains only black flames and despair. This fate is the result of the planet's humanity's unconscious desire for despair. That's a weird little bit there. The planet's humanity implying that there are humanities on other planets? I don't know. Weird little bit. Probably means nothing. But anyway, the narrator goes on as we zoom in on Haumea. And the saint's duty was to see to it that God's revelation was fulfilled to the end. And then we cut to Shinra, Sho, and Mari, still holding hands. Shinra all gung-ho. We can create miracles. And Haumea crying again and doing the Latome prayer. You are opposing both God's revelation and the unconscious. How wretched. And it is because of the fact that you relentlessly plot against it until the end that makes you devils. And Sho asks Shinra, brother, just what are you planning on doing? And Shinra sort of thinks for a minute, what to do? And Sho goes on, as much as I hate to admit it, we're in a very desperate situation. And Shinra starts thinking out loud. So she said Mom was the Evangelist doppelganger, and the saint can't tell lies, right? And we look at Mari. Again, kind of confused what I'm sort of thinking right now is, how did she become an Infernal? If she's, because Infernals are the result of doppelgangers kind of meshing with their real selves, right? Except for the doppelgangers who are so powerful and kind of become their own person. But Mari being a doppelganger wouldn't have a doppelganger to merge with, right? I don't know. The Evangelist despair, and Mom's hope. The fact that she showed up must mean there's still a sliver of hope left. Okay. I'm not quite sure. It's your hope, I suppose, that sort of summoned her. But Sho presses, but despite that, what can we really do? And Shinra thinks for a second, and looks over at Haumea. What is the Evangelist up to? She's always standing behind the saint like that. I've kind of been wondering, am I thinking how long is left for Fire Force? Are the Evangelist and Haumea one and the same figure now? Is this the final battle, or will there be an Evangelist fight after this? But what is the deal with the Evangelist right now? She's just kind of there, hovering. And Sho answers, the saint and the Evangelist have become one and the same. She's shouldering despair on her back. Is Sho just sort of interpreting events the best that he can? Or is this a long-established white-clad plan that Sho knows because of his time with that organization? I don't know. Might be irrelevant. Who's to say? But anyway, Shinra goes on, "So, Ma, if that's how it is, then we're carrying hope in our hearts." And once again, that little flame rises up from where Shinra was pierced several chapters ago. Which, interestingly enough, it was not there earlier in the chapter, on page 6. When we first see Shinra, there's no, like, flame soul-looking thing. Whereas by the time we get to page 10, it definitely is there. I don't know. And that light illuminates Sho the angel, Shinra the hero, and Mari the hope. All sort of, they have this panel of the three of them together, and there's sort of titles above them. And Shinra declares, "Within my heart, our three souls unite as one." And Haumea watches kind of shocked as this energy emanates around the Kusakabes. I can't quite work out what that's supposed to be exactly. Also, have they been in the air this whole time? Because we've had some shots of Shinra, like, looking down at Haumea, and now they look to be either in the air or they've, like, removed the flames that kind of act as ground around them by the force of their hope or something. Soul resonance! Oh boy! So I never read the Soul Eater manga. Anime only for Soul Eater, and that was like 7 years ago. But that's a Soul Eater term. That is distinctly a Soul Eater term. And yeah, this giant soul appears. And we see this explosion, and wind like blasts past Haumea. She's guarded by the divine blessing. But even she's sort of, she's still placid, but I feel like she's acknowledging that something weird's going on here. And yeah, it's a sort of orb with like the Shinra fangs and Mari's horns. But it's just big. It's real big. And we see Shinra in there as he calls, "To the planet of black despair, with a heart brimmed with hope, I have come to meet you." And we have this image of a soul, a white soul in a black background that might be how like every Soul Eater episode opened, actually. We get some Japanese text that I can't read. And we just see I'm gonna edit manga deck a little bit because it's not quite formatting that very well. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. A 2-page spread that's just Shinra's face. Okay. And then we see Shinraban-shoman. Fitting, of course, Shinra's sort of hero man naming sense, but we also see this Shinra. He has his mother's horns, but instead of on his eyes, like on his forehead, he's got like Super Saiyan hair, shirtless, in like some kind of almost like skirt on his lower half. I don't know. It's a pretty cool design, I will say. And Shinra says, "Hope can't be stopped." We have a translator note. The kanji on the black strands coming off of Shinra say Shinraban-shoman. Anyway, hope can't be stopped. And I can't stop smiling. Which actually, I think that's just a real good callback to the very beginning of the series. How Shinra was sort of seen as this devil because he can't stop smiling. And now that's this symbol of hope. That's some good shit there. And Shinra calls out, "Let's get us a verdict. Hope or despair." And Haumea, still with like tears in her eyes, stares up, almost angry now. That's the most like anger we've seen out of her this whole time. "The true savior has arrived. Now all that's left is to exorcise and illuminate humanity's built-up despair. To be continued up to 296, Shinraban-shoman." Okay, so, all right. Damn, there's a lot going on here. First of all, let's just say, I think we're off next week. I know that all of the other manga in Weekly Shonen Magazine that I'm reading, or that I have release dates for, like Eden Zero and Eternity and To Your Eternity, are both off this week. I'm about 99% sure this is in the same magazine. Let me do the quickest of MAL searches. Yeah, so they should all be off this week, or next week. So we have a good 2-week hiatus here to deal with this, which is just so much, and nothing at all what I was really expecting any of this to go. I mean, a lot of the basic concepts are what we've kind of been seeing building up over the past, the whole series really, but especially the past 100 chapters or so. The hope versus despair, the sort of weird logic of Adola. It's definitely all a part of things. But I know what everyone's going to be talking about, and it's going to be that soul resonance. Because, I, again, don't know enough about Soul Eater to know if this works. If Soul Eater's lore is so well established in its backstory that Fire Force can't be grafted on there. I don't know, or if it's just, a similar terminology because it's Okubo and he's reusing old terminology like Mashima does with every fucking series. So I can't quite say. Particularly, if someone is more familiar with Soul Eater than I am, you can clarify in the comments. But then it's just sort of building up Shinrabanshoman, who just looks cool, I want to say. He looks so cool. I don't know. There's a few more things to bring up. Specifically, that bit at the end. Him calling out to the people, let's get us a verdict, hope or despair. And if it were just that one line, I'd say maybe he's just sort of bantering to Haumea. But he says earlier, to the planet of black despair, where the heart brim with hope I have come to meet you. It really feels like he's talking to the people who are kind of dead now, who have been caught up in the black flames of despair. But he's still talking to them. I don't know, it's just a little odd. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out more next chapter. What exactly he's talking, who exactly he's talking to. Is this sort of to the souls of Earth that are still kind of there in the Black Sun? Or if he's sort of just bantering with Haumea, or what exactly is going on here. Given what I remember of Soul Eater, I'm not quite, because I know it's set in Nevada, right? Actual in the US, which I don't think exists anymore in Fire Force. It was destroyed in the Cataclysm. So maybe if this is building up to being a very stealth Soul Eater prequel, everyone will still be dead, but the world will be reborn into what will eventually become Soul Eater. And we kind of maybe see that with Excalibur getting a soul a few chapters ago. I'm going to say, though, if the series ends with everyone is dead, but they still create the Soul Eater world, but, all the characters spent 300 chapters with are just kind of dead and gone now, I'm not going to be happy with that. I am not a big fan of killing off the entire cast, just kind of because. So I'm already, unless, it's possible, it would not be the first time I've said if Okubo does this, I'm going to be opposed to it. And then he turns around and makes it work. We saw that with Shinra Christ way back when. So maybe he'll pull the strings together and make it work somehow. But I'm very skeptical on making this all a stealth Soul Eater prequel and killing off the cast of Fire Force. If you somehow make it a stealth Soul Eater prequel and leave everyone who's not already dead alive somehow, all right, fine. I guess I could be on board with that. But killing everyone in this series off just to build up Soul Eater again, it's a weird choice and I don't really like it. But we'll see. I'm sort of speculating there what I think might be happening just because of that soul resonance bit, which, is a lot. It's a thing to throw at us. But yeah, anyway, beyond that, we see some more of the despair hope contrast of the Evangelist and Mari. And it is, I'm not opposed to just sort of leaving, just saying, all right, Mari is the Evangelist doppelganger, and let's just kind of leave that there. It's a fact, but it's sort of weird that Shinra and Sho are so calm about that. Because that's kind of a big revelation, isn't it? I like the idea, I think I either openly posited this last chapter, definitely thought it after last chapter, that the reason the Evangelist doppelganger is full of hope is because in a converse sense, the white-clad hoped in the despair that the Evangelist would bring. Therefore, she is seen as a figure of hope amongst the people who know of her. And that's a nice bit. And, again, like I said during the dragon fight, Okubo was great at sort of setting things up without directly calling attention to them. And it's still there here, why Mari might be hope. But yeah, it's just some good shit with the Evangelist and Mari. I do kind of wish we maybe saw a bit more of a response to that from the brothers in particular, given that learning that your mom is the evangelist of a god of despair, is the doppelganger of a god of despair, is a lot. And they just kind of brush it off, which is not the biggest thing in the world, but it's just kind of weird. But then, yeah, we have Shinrabanshoman, we have Soul Eater connections, and then Shinrabanshoman is here for that final confrontation with Haumea and the Evangelist, and we are very much moving into, the last... I don't see Fire Force going on for 10 more chapters. I just don't. I can see it ending in 5 chapters, maybe, just like get an even 300. I don't see it going on for another 10, if I'm being perfectly honest. This all feels like final battle, and that's, it's great. It's great for a series to end on its own terms and not be dragged on to infinity and not be canceled. My grand point is, I just can't wait to see all this plays out. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a long 2 weeks till we get that next chapter. So yeah, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!